Hello and welcome to the Golden Arrow site tutorial on how to use messaging. So messaging is one of the more powerful features that exists within the new site, and it's also one that we kind of need to talk through in some depth so that you can understand the nuances of how it works and how messaging interacts between users on the site. So one of the things that we talked about earlier in the site tour that we did was the understanding around how members can be contacted. So for example, we go out here, we look at the member list, and we talked about things called tags, right? So for example, Tamara is our district executive. She has the district executive tag, right? So we know that she is the district executive, and it's an easy way to identify her. We also talked about the fact that I can message her, right? So in this case, I can actually message her. The easiest way is if I want to talk directly to her, I can just come here, find her, click on the little envelope, and it will pop up and it will come to the messages section. Now, just to kind of show you how, well, I'll show you how I got here in just a minute, but once I get here, you'll recognize a lot of these tools. If you've watched the forum tutorial, which talks about how to use the editor, you will notice that a lot of the same tools are present here in this editor that are present in the forums. It's not as many, okay? And there are certain key omissions, one of the biggest of which is attachments, but we'll talk about how to handle that in just a moment. So basically you would enter a subject, enter a message, and you would send the message. The site knows what Tamara's actual email address is that she has maintained on her account, and it will send it to her without necessarily exposing her email address to you or anyone else. So this is a nice privacy feature. It does allow you to contact the people you need to contact, but people don't necessarily have to expose their personal emails. They can do that once they've been contacted. They can go ahead and they can reply to you from their regular email if they feel comfortable doing that, or they can message you back on the site. And what you'll see in a moment when we go and we look at the messaging is that if you are using the site to communicate back and forth, it will actually keep track of that entire conversation for you, so you can see the entire history of it. So in this case, you'll notice that Tamara is sitting over here in the to section, and it has her identified. All right, so this is the most basic way to get to people, is through the members page. However, if we go back to the home page and we just kind of leave that alone and we say, you know what, I'm out here and I need to send a message. Let's say, for example, that I am working on a Cub Scout activity and I want to make sure that I contact all of the Cub Masters and all of the committee chairs that are present in the district. I'm going to go out here to the account section. So within the account section, there's a whole bunch of features, one of which is the messaging. So now that I'm in the messaging, we can see that I actually have a whole bunch of discussions that have been going on over time, many pages worth of them actually. But you can see here that our entire conversation is recorded so that I have a full history of what was said. So it's kind of a nice feature. It's an easy way to kind of keep track of what's going on. Okay, I can archive this, I can delete them, and there are other things I can do. Mark things unread, add people to the mail chain, lock, stop for the replies to it, that sort of. But in addition, I can also compose a new message, right? So if I compose a new message here, I can do a number of things to actually assign things. So here I'm going to send a message to Cub Master or Cub Scout activity. Notice, whatever. But here is the thing. I can either go find all the email addresses for all the individuals that are Cub Masters and committee chairs, or I can go out here, I can find it by name. So like I know Bo Hodnett is, you know, he's the committee chair at 262, so I can go get Bo this way. Okay. However, I don't have to do that. What I can also do is I can come in here and I can go look at the tags and I can say I want all the Cub Masters and I want all of the PAC committee chairs, and that's it. And everyone that has this tag, Cub Master or PAC committee chair, will receive this message. So this is one of the reasons why we are pushing so hard for everyone to be on the site and for everyone to have their tag set, is because this way you will always be able to target your communications to the right people. Now you will also notice underneath here that you can also use all users, all admins, You can also go in here and grab district people or whoever you want to send your message to. If you want to send it to a particular unit, you can send it to all the leaders in a particular unit. If you are looking for things like, I need people who have shooting sports certifications, like range masters or instructors, I can click on that and I can address this to all the people that do shooting sports stuff or that have shooting sports certifications. So if I need range masters for a camp or an activity that I'm doing, I can hit these people up by using the tags. So of course I'm going to edit, I'm going to use the same, whatever I want to here, but let's say that I wanted to have an attachment here. Now this is where things get a little interesting, a little different. The biggest thing that's different here is that since I can't attach it directly here, what I really want to do is I want to create a thread in the forum, and then I want to link it here. So for example, and there is a method to this madness, okay, and we'll discuss it here in just a moment. So if I go out here if I go back to the site and I go back to the forums, the purpose really around this site is to communicate activities and to communicate things that the community will want to engage with or work with. So the forum actually provides us a place to not only be able to upload and store files and disseminate those files and make them searchable, but it also is a place for people to come, to be able to ask you questions, to be able to share information. When you respond to them, your answers are there, so you don't have to send those emails to 15 different people, etc. So for example, in this case, I have a Cub Scout activity. So I'm going to go into Cub Scout Adventure because I have a Cub Scout activity, and I'm going to create a new thread, and I'm going to say Cub Scout test activity, and I'm going to say activity text, whatever it says, okay, and then I'm going to place an attachment on this. I put my attachment in here. I'm going to put in the Twilight Camp flyer because I need an attachment, whatever that is. So I can post this thread. I can pull up the flyer. I can see what's involved in it, and that's great. And this is what I want everybody to see. Okay? So what I'm going to do, and this kind of goes back to, and if you haven't watched it yet, go back and watch the forum tutorial on how you do this. But what I'm going to do is that I have posted my file here. Then I'm going to go up here. I'm going to copy my URL, and I'm going to go back to my message, and I'm going to type in something like event flyer, and then I'm going to create a hyperlink, and I'm going to paste it. Okay, now that event flyer is now a link, and that link, so we'll go to preview so that I can see it. I can see there's my event flyer, and when I click on that event flyer link, it's going to take me right here to the forum, to my thread, where people can get to the file. Okay. The advantage here is that if anybody has questions, they can ask those questions directly. Since you created the thread, you will be subscribed to it, which means you will get a notice that people have questions. Okay, so we can see that we have a question. And maybe you give them some answers. And maybe you even type it right. So now, whenever anybody comes back in here looking for the file, right? So whenever anybody else clicks on this link, if they have that same question, the answer is already here for them, and they can post their own questions. And this way you have a dialogue with the people that are potentially attending your event, and it's a dialogue that helps answer other people's questions at the same time. So that's kind of the benefit of doing it this way. So it's pretty straightforward. You notice that it didn't take very long really to do, to put it up here, to attach the file, to then go and copy the URL and put it into my link for my email, and that was it. So that's how you use the messaging service, and it allows you to contact anybody that's part of the site. It allows you to do it easily and quickly using the tags, and allows you to keep a history of the conversation that you've had. So that also then, we've talked about how you include attachments. Really, you want to create a forum thread, attach your file, and then use the URL in order to create a link in your email. Now, I know it kind of seems like a little bit much, but as you start to work with it, it'll become clear to everybody that it's nice to have those central files, those central repositories. So now other things. When you receive messages, those messages will actually create a notification down here. Okay, and so this is something we haven't talked about very much, and this is the notification bar. Okay, so this notification bar, really for most users, the primary thing you'll see is this, which is the messaging bar. Okay, this will allow you to go to your inbox if you have new messages, and you'll be able to see anything that's new, and it'll tell you how many new messages or notifications you currently have. So that's messaging in a nutshell. Kind of an important thing, one of the key things that we're after on the website. Now, if you have not gotten your tags, please contact an admin so we can get your tags set up appropriately. If you know of other leaders who are not currently registered for the site, please get them to register and get their tags. That way, when we send out notifications, it will go out to the right people. The other big benefit of doing it this way is that you no longer should receive spam that is irrelevant to you. You should be, by using the tags, what we should be doing is we should be identifying the appropriate specific audience for a given communication and sending them things so that when you see a notice from Engine, you know that it's something relevant to you and you should look at it, as opposed to what we had with the Google groups where we kind of blasted all the Boy Scouts with everything, or we blasted all the Cub Scouts with everything, even if it wasn't necessarily relevant to their unit or relevant to what they were doing. So this hopefully will help make the communications more effective and more meaningful for everyone. So that's it, and thank you for your time, and I hope you guys have a good time using this and that you find it useful. If there's any feedback you have, please by all means put it in the site suggestions on the forum page or contact one of the admins. So thanks for your time.